What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if we're going to get Hogwarts Legacy gameplay at the Game Awards 2020. So this is continuing our little series here where I talk about if we're going to get a certain game or see something specific at the Game Awards, and it's about time we talk about Hogwarts Legacy. I do have other videos planned for this game, by the way, that are pretty darn big. I would say some very heavily requested videos, so make sure you guys, obviously, as always, are staying tuned because I'll be dropping those videos within the next week or two, let's just say. So, I've said this for a couple of the other ones. I'm going to try to not sound like a broken record. We're going to go over what I know about the Game Awards, what Jeff Keighley has said about the Game Awards, and ultimately if this, and also, I guess, what we know about this game, and if we could actually place it there. So, again, to really quickly recap, and I try to do this with all of them, although I know I'm kind of saying the same thing, a thing that's very important to note with the Game Awards is this. Jeff Keighley knows the importance of new announcements, of the worldwide reveals, stuff like that, but it's a celebration of games, and he always looks at it way, way, way more to the award part, to the just, again, celebrating what makes gaming, okay? That's his focus, but he knows how important the other stuff is, and that's why he tries to have the blend. A couple other tidbits of information is he doesn't love working with the same company over and over and over again because it makes him look, he assumes it makes him look biased to other people, so he tries to not do that. That is important when we're talking about Warner Bros. Because we know Warner Bros. Has worked with him quite often. Now, he doesn't seem to have he doesn't normally seem to have a problem with it. Maybe he's talking because he has talked specifically about Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, that he doesn't want to come off too much on the side of one of those companies, okay? So that's important to note. And it's also important to note, I think, just from a history point of view, that the Game Awards is good for maybe, and I've said this for, I think, almost every video, like 2 to 4 big things, okay? Now, I know people have been saying this. People will say this as we get closer. Well, Alex, this year is different. This year's Game Awards has been, this is a year that has just been a catastrophe, right? So many games have been delayed. So many games have just altered their direction, basically, because of all the stuff that's happened. I do agree. And I do think that this year in particular will be different. I feel like if we normally get 2 to 4 big announcements, we may be looking at not necessarily double, but let's say I don't know, 3 to 6. I wouldn't go so far to say we would get double or in the 10 plus territory, but I do think this could easily be. Now, last year they showed the Xbox Series X, but I do think this could be, I guess, that removed, one of, if not the biggest Game Awards he's ever done, okay? So that brings us to the star of the show, Hogwarts Legacy. So I say gameplay only because that's kind of, in my opinion, where we're at. We've talked about gameplay before. We have the trailer. We're going to get more info, and I think we'll get info through, screenshots over time and stuff like that. But what we're really looking for as the next really big push of information on this game is gameplay. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't gameplay in that trailer, because there was, and I know people have kind of debated on that or had problems with that since it came out, where people were saying, well, where was the gameplay? And then I think even Avalanche Software said, well, there was gameplay in the trailer, and that's correct. There was absolutely, they hit it. They absolutely hit it, and it made it look like it was part of the trailer. But a lot of that trailer, I wouldn't say half, but a good portion of that trailer was in-game, the gameplay of what we're actually going to be doing in that game. But what we're looking for, and honestly, this is where it gets a little bit negative, and I'm sorry to do this to you guys. This is where it kind of hurts a little bit. Where we're at is, I think, an extended gameplay look. That's where I think, you could give us more trailers, and that's fine. But in all reality, I think you gave us the trailer. You gave us the setup. We do need a lot of questions answered. But the next thing you need to do is you need to show gameplay. You need to show an extended, and especially with a game like this, a Dragon Age kind of comparable, pick your open world. I know some people are even comparing it to Cyberpunk. I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea, by the way. But, obviously it's an open world game, okay? Different style than some of the other ones, but we need to know how a lot of things work. And the best way of doing that, especially in an open world game, is showing us. It's not telling us, right? It's not the Kingdom Hearts Nomura method of tell, not show. It's show, not tell. Again, especially for an open world game, because there's so many small details in it, even if you watch a 2-minute, let's say they come out eventually with a 2-minute gameplay presentation. Do you know how much they could probably show, even inadvertently, in that 2 minutes? A ton. Way, way more than they could ever do by telling us, by doing like a blog post. But again, here's the deal. I think we're looking for a pretty meaty, and by meaty, I don't mean like I need half an hour. In fact, I don't think I want to watch half an hour of this game because that'll just spoil stuff. I want like, I don't know, is Gotham Knights a good comparable? I feel like it kind of is. Open world game. We got around 7.5 minutes for Gotham Knights when they announced that game back at DC Fandom. They showed like a 7 to 8 minute gameplay presentation. That's kind of what I'm thinking for Hogwarts. You show us. Let's increase the boundaries just a little bit. You show us like 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay. Now, how does that relate basically to the Game Awards? Well, it doesn't. The answer is it kind of puts it off the board because what I think we're used to seeing in the Game Awards is not that. The Game Awards is for those first looks. It's for maybe second looks of games we already know, but it's trailers. Now, at Gamescom, Jeff Keighley did Gamescom, right? There were gameplay presentations. They actually did like remember, the biggest one that kind of stands out to me, which would be cool, is like Crash. They showed Crash Bandicoot 4 at Gamescom, and they had a developer talking over it, and it was a mix of a trailer. I think they showed a trailer first or at the end, but then they also showed gameplay stuff, and they talked about it over the gameplay, okay? Now, that was good. Now, again, why do I bring that up? Well, like, that's something that would be cool. That's something I would want. Maybe that's something that Warner Bros. Montreal. That's something that Avalanche Software could do at some point. But again, Gamescom is not the Game Awards, right? The Game Awards is let's give out 500 awards. Let's do all this stuff. Let's celebrate. And don't forget too, this year is the welcoming of next gen, and it's also the farewell of last gen. It's also 2020, so there's like a decade, a decade obviously there. So Jeff Keighley can play it multiple ways where this could really not just be a celebration of the games we got in 2020, but be a celebration of the current gen, the PS4 and Xbox One, that era of games. Let's look back at those. And it could also be a celebration, really, of the last 10 years because it's a nice number, right? You don't do 10 years in like a 21, right? You do it in like a 20 because you say, okay, let's look back at 2010 to 2020 and let's look at those games. So I feel like he's going to be occupied is pretty much what I'm saying. The announcements I expect to see at the Game Awards are first looks, are the worldwide, are like the trailers, right? The first time we see them. That's what I expect. A 1 minute to 3 minute kind of trailer is the best I think we're getting, which has its place and actually should make everybody really excited when those things are announced, right? There could be some really big announcements that for games that we've never seen before. The funny thing is, for these past, actually for Hogwarts Legacy, it's been 2 years, right? 2 years ago, 2018's December and 2019's December, people were hoping that we would get this game there. But why? Well, it's because it was leaked, and it was because showing a trailer for the first time. If you showed the trailer that they showed at the PlayStation event that they announced this game, if you did that at the Game Awards, it would be perfect. It would actually fit the theme extremely, extremely well. And that's what I was kind of expecting if they were going to be at the Game Awards for the past couple of years, or if it wasn't announced, say, in September and it was announced instead in December. That's what I would have expected to see. You know what I mean? I would have just expected to see that. So that would have made a lot of sense. Now we're at the point, and again, it's not, I know it's pessimistic, because my answer, by the way, is no. I do not think we're going to see, I don't think Hogwarts Legacy is going to be there. I think they are in hiding. I think that's normal. That's what every developer does. We talked about that a lot for Gotham Knights. We can talk about it for Hogwarts Legacy. They are quiet now. They won't really speak up very much. We're definitely not going to see anything like brand new in terms of trailers, in terms of gameplay, until 2021. When in 2021? Well, we'll talk about that in future videos, but I really think for now they're on that hiatus where they don't really speak all that much. That's okay. We know the game is real, and that's ultimately the biggest point I want to drive home, that again, the last 2 years we've been expecting to see the game for the first time. Like, just tell us that it's real. And I think it's important to remember that we now know that it's real. And seeing more of it now is like icing on top of the cake, right? I'm not saying like give them all the credit in the world and back off of them and don't criticize them. No, I mean, do all those things, right? We need to hold their feet to the fire and make sure this game is good. But the point is, we know this game is real. We know that developers go silent like this, and I don't really think, it's okay. It's okay, the fact that they're not going to show it. Now, when they do show it, again, they should not be given all these excuses for if things are looking bad or whatever. We'll obviously analyze it once we see new stuff. But I would say as of right now, I'm personally not expecting it at all at the Game Awards. If you guys are, that's totally cool. I have nothing, I'm not, don't let me stomp out your hope, because this whole channel, really, for all of these big games and movies that I've covered over the last like 5 years, my biggest thing is like, let's believe in like the unbelievable, right? That's kind of been like a thing that we've done. So don't let me tell you don't get excited or don't believe something, because that's all we've done for literally years. But keep your expectations, I would say, at a reasonable point is the only piece of advice I would give. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think the game is going to be there? What do you think would be shown if the game was there? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. All my other social media stuff, my Twitter, my Discord, my second channel, all in the description below. If you guys want to support me there, check those out. That would be much, much appreciated. More Hogwarts Legacy videos every couple days. We'll try and get back on the right kind of schedule as that onslaught of games that came out last week kind of dies down. Then we'll start, going back to the normal schedule for Hogwarts Legacy. Some really, really fun videos I got planned for you guys, so I'm really excited for you guys to see them. Thank you, as always, so much for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.